There. Okay, we're going to start. Well, fabulous, and welcome to tonight's broadcast for Destination Freedom. I'm Christopher Gronsky, and I am glad you're here. It'll be exciting to have you join us this evening. We're being broadcast on YouTube as well as Facebook, I suppose. That's out there. And so if you're part of this and you're enjoying it, or if you support what we're doing here, be sure to like and subscribe and pass this on to your friends and all. We've got a lot to cover tonight. We'll see if we can get through everything they want to chit chat and talk about. We are going to be developing more social media interaction because there's a lot of conversations going on about there in the ether, and freedom is always what this is about. There's never a time, politically speaking, that freedom isn't on the table. Matter of fact, every bill that's drafted, everything these people do is either securing rights and promoting liberty or freedom, or it's expanding government and is ultimately going to violate rights. There is no gray. There may be, if it's it's either those two concepts that's playing out. There is no, this is not related to anything that's, to do with freedom, or that is never the case. That's why it doesn't take any intelligence to be in office. Reminds me of when recently I was in Montana. We were doing some court work. We're dealing with the subject matter of the right to travel. And you won't find that right to travel acknowledged in court, certainly not in the lower courts. That is a money racket, definitely. That's all they have on their mind. But I remember, I guess this was a court in California, and where the cop's on the stand. And of course, we had a few questions for the cop. We didn't figure it was going to go anywhere, but it was pretty wild because, so the cop, we're asked the cop questions, do you take an oath to uphold the Constitution, both state and federal? And usually they'll say, yes, I do. And then we had the audacity to ask him if he ever read it. And he actually was honest enough to say, no, I take an oath to uphold the Constitutions and I've never read it. It's like the line of questioning that you would have for him is it'd be this way. It's like, have you ever read the Constitution? So how do you determine if a law is constitutional or not, that you would uphold and protect, the Constitution, and not allow laws to violate it or government to violate it in whatever capacity? Wouldn't have a stinking clue. And, so when you get into the conversation asking a cop about the law that they're supposed to uphold, the truth is that they don't know the law, nor do they have an expectation that they should know the law. Now, they know laws to catch you and to prosecute you and all that. That's about it. And the truth of the matter is not that they know the law. The truth of the matter is they know the tradition of the law. And so they know what they're supposed to do, what they're trained to do, because they're just processing people in that capacity. And that's what's really happening. Sad to say. So in our documents that we submit when we do driver's license, we do have a section in there about establishing the right to travel. And, but just, the number one purpose of having paperwork in the driver's license process, truthfully, the only reason we have it there is so that we're handling the subject matter of not being a federal citizen, a United States citizen, and being a citizen of the states, so that it's congruent with our passport process and the things that we do at the State Department. That's all the reason that we do that, because in that situation and other situations, you're asked, are you a United States citizen? And if you don't know the definition of the term United States, now, there are many definitions of the term United States. And in the Hooven case in 1945, the Supreme Court defined the term United States to have three separate meanings. The second meaning is the federal government, the name of the federal government, or the District of Columbia. That is the United States. So if someone says, do you live in the United States? listen, on these tax forms and other places, if they're asking if you live or work in the United States, they mean do you live and work in the District of Columbia? But you're saying yes because you don't know. And the third definition is the states under the, united under the Constitution. That's how the Hooven case reads. So you read it for yourself to see, what that says. But anyway, but if someone asks you a question like, are you a United States citizen? And they don't define the term United States, you don't really know what they're asking you. And it's one thing to ask somebody and say, do you live in the United States? And you may suppose they're meaning something, the 50 states of the Union. But when your government and statute and code defines these terms clearly, then you have to understand they're not asking you, do you live in America? They're asking you, do you live in the District of Columbia? And you're going to agree to that under penalty of perjury. That's the way it is on tax forms. So, and most people do that. Most people do. It's rare that someone would know that or that would ask. And so we do that in the driver's license process. We do that in jury duty. We do that in any kind of governmental way, like when you sign, register to vote and things like that. You're asked those terms. You want to make sure you're telling the truth. Don't be ignorant. You don't have to be. So, that's one of those things we were doing in Montana. And that was exciting. And it was infuriating and all that. What's interesting is in Montana, they actually will convene a jury for a speeding ticket. So the morning of, actually the night at the end of the day, on the night before, the prosecutor does a motion to the court, a motion in Lemaine, I think, or Lemaine is how it's pronounced. Anyway, every single point we were making in challenging jurisdiction, the prosecutor motioned the court to not allow us to present argument or defense in dealing with citizenship, dealing with jurisdiction, dealing with the right to travel, not even allowing him to state what we call character, supporting his character that he'd never been, committed a crime. For every point of his argument, the motion to block that. And of course, we could have motioned and asked the court not to, but who do you think the court's going to favor? So it's like, well, this doesn't look like it's going to do very well. And we believe that we had good grounds to appeal in this situation. So we are looking at that and determining that. So we're going to do something different in that. It definitely was problematic in that. So we're planning an appeal in Southern California. That's going to be good. One of the grounds that we're going to appeal is that the court was not impartial. And the biggest reason that the court wasn't impartial was because we asked in the courtroom we asked if the cop was a witness. Now, if the cop is a witness, he can't prosecute the case. Of course, there was no prosecutor. There was no other attorney in the courtroom for this particular case. And so what we find out is that the judge was the prosecutor. And the reason we know that is because when my client was speaking and asking the cop certain questions, the court would object to the line of questioning, and then it would sustain its own objection. We've investigated ourselves and we've found ourselves in it. So the judge we have the recording of it. So the judge was objecting and sustaining his own objection. How moronic is that? But we'll see if the appellate court gives a crap about impartiality. So there's no sense in having this, court activity with respect to getting money from people. Just send them a bill and enforce it like you would a debt collector. But don't go through the motions like you're protecting people's rights. That's just stupid. And the biggest thing that these courts do is when you go to traffic court, they will offer you, hey, we're glad you're here tonight. We just want you to know we have 50% off. And so we have a sale tonight. So if you'll plead guilty, we'll give you 50% off. And many, if not most, go with the 50% off deal. And then those that don't, they are glad to listen to them, listen to the cop, go with the cop, have a nice day. You get the full price. So That's just bad. So we'll come up with a different remedy or whatever, but we'll see whether on an appeal to the court that the court is not impartial will stand. If the appellate court is supportive of the lower court's impartiality, then there's no justice in that, and then we can just go tell the legislature, the executive or the judicial branch is out of control with respect to these traffic citations, so you want to ratchet in them, otherwise you're going to be complicit in this situation. What a joke, as Al Pacino would say. What a fiasco. What kind of show you putting on here today? Yeah, that's pretty wild. So a lot's been going on, and sorry we hadn't gotten back sooner on this broadcast, but we had the holidays and how that played out, and then when we got out of the holidays, I was ending up going to be traveling out to Montana for a couple of weeks, and so that took some time away, and we were doing a lot of work out there. That was important. And then last week I wasn't feeling very well. It's because I was hanging out with my clients' kids, and when kids hang out in school, they get bugs, and so there's some of that. Now, the people that I usually associate with, we don't usually associate with people who get vaccinations and all that stuff, so we're always concerned about that. But in the schools, there's a mix of that nonsense, so you never know what you're going to pick up in schools. Of course, I always say that if you love your children, you'll pull them out of the government communist schools. Otherwise, you don't love your children. I'll just say it like that. And so the idea, if you want to put up with that and have your kids sacrificed on that altar, that's up to you. That's sad. And it's not difficult to homeschool. I'm just going to tell you, it's just not. Okay. Ron Paul has an excellent curriculum. You can put that together. And I'm sure that if you were looking for that, or somebody wanted to support you to see that, I'm sure you have a family member or friends that loves your children like you do, and that would help and support you to even get those curriculum regardless of what the cost. And I know online that there are curriculums that you can come up with, and I guarantee you they're free. There's plenty of free education online that's better than you'll find in school, bar none. So, and I think if you have a bunch of kids at home, you should do the one-room schoolhouse. That means that all you have to do is teach your older child or your older kids. Let those kids teach the younger ones. It'll build camaraderie, as well as when your older students are teaching the subject matter, they'll know it better because they're communicating it to their underclassmen or their brothers and sisters. It's a much better way. What you'll find is that the younger kids will be learning at the same time as the older kids, because it's really that way. Kids can be brilliant if they're not dumbed down like you do in government schools. So that plays out. So it's our intention to do these broadcasts every Wednesday, and sometimes life shows up and then we don't. Michael, are we looking to broadcast from an Acapulco? That's cool. So we'll take some equipment with us. It would be good if we could snag a really nice camera. Wouldn't that be cool before we leave? Okay, we'll have to do that. We'll come up with that. Listen, so Michael and I and my brother, whose name is Michael. I'm taking two Michaels with me to Acapulco, and so we'll be leaving on like the 13th, the 12th or 13th, and then we'll be back on the 24th. So we will look to have a broadcast from that location. I'm not sure exactly where or how we can do that. We'll see if we can locate some Wi-Fi. Otherwise, we'll do it at the place we're staying. Maybe it'll be a nice view behind the balcony or something. The what? The phones? Oh, the cell phones and all? Oh, I see. Well, they'll probably have a good Wi-Fi in that place, so we'll see how it goes. But we're looking forward to that. And of course, if we invite you to be a part of an Acapulco, and there's a link, right? We have a link we can share. Yeah, there you go. And so look, if you come down, we'd like to meet you and have drinks and dinner together. That'd be would be just the best. I'd like to get to know you. That'll be a lot of fun. And there are clients that are going to go and show up down there. We're really looking forward to being together with everybody. This will be the first year that I get to be on the main stage. All afterwards, they're going to do a VIP kind of a summit, a vigilante summit, and so we'll be speaking at the summit afterwards as well. So that'll be good, and so we're looking forward to just being together. Yeah, so if you can't make it, you can do. There's a virtual. Is it 150? Okay, so yeah, you check it out. There is a virtual a ticket that you can go and you can listen to all the speakers online. So that's definitely worth doing, and so that'll be fun. And so the virtual, you can do that, and then what else do we have going on? We do need to get the details because we're focused on this particular trip, but there will be Lieberland is coming up in April, so we'll have a couple months, February, March, April, yeah. So we'll be down in Florida. Oh, good, you have the Lieberland link. That's cool. See, right down there. That's cool. So yeah, we're looking forward to that, and hopefully we can get over there and be a part of that community. Nothing like being a part of freedom-minded people worldwide. It really makes the world small and is quite beautiful. So I'm grateful for that. Wanted to see. Oh, are we having? Wanted to just see if looks like we have some chat questions. I want to get into some questions. And see, let me just handle some of these questions that I have that came through the website, and then we'll get to answering the questions online there. So that'll be cool. Let's see, someone, this is a Robert. It says, it says, I've closed almost all of my personal bank accounts, but I have a Schwab account that I trade in. Do you know or help with finding ways to create trading accounts or crypto accounts that I can use that aren't tied to a social security number? Well, that's interesting. What we recommend is that if you have to have a number, then you may end up doing your social security number. What you don't want is a tax ID number or anything like that. And so if they can set up with an account with like a passport number, and as long as you tell them it's a passport number, because that also is a let's see, 4670 is a 9-digit number, then that may be fine. But generally speaking, we have documents for clients that when these sites are asking for information, they're going to send out a W-9. Looks like I'm frozen. Oh, it's a nightmare. It's a madhouse. It's a madhouse. Crazy, I tell you. Yeah, it's just crazy. So we'll straighten out what this video is going to look like. Yeah, we'll let's see here. How are we doing this? Okay, yeah. So if you hung in through there, that's awesome. Glad that you have that kind of perseverance. So we'll figure out where I locked up and all that. So I moved from the other laptop to this particular location over by my desk. They still love us. We're still on, Michael. So no, I just put it back on. So anyway, so we're from this location here, and hopefully make sure that our sound is, yeah, good. We're still doing that. Just gonna break this up here. Good. So yeah, so I was getting through some of the questions. So we were talking about bank accounts and all that. Generally speaking, I think of bank accounts as like asbestos. And so, don't mess with it. As long as you're, if it has a social security number, that's fine. That doesn't create the tax liability for you, but you should have proper documents. You can't be agreeing to things that you don't agree with. And so things are signed many times under penalty of perjury. You want to make sure everything's true and correct. No lying. You're not hiding or sneaking. You don't want to live like a runaway slave. Everything is open and honest. That doesn't mean you don't care about privacy. You just but you don't lie on forms or any of that stuff. And if you have tax ID numbers, and things like that, LLCs, anything corporate. Everything corporate is tied to government. Everything corporate is public. There is no such thing, listen carefully, there's no such thing as a private corporation. Okay, if a government is protecting you from and get by privileges and immunities, then you're going to be taxed and regulated. Okay, same thing with churches and having exemptions. It's all in that jurisdiction. You don't want their exemptions. Okay, so it's just part of that. But anyway, so it's better just to have a bank account that might have your social security number, but you're going to want to make sure that it's clear that you're not a 14th Amendment federal citizen, okay, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. All right. So, and then dealing with crypto and what they have is the KYC, know your customer. That's what the KYC is. So, they have obligations to tax and regulate U.S. citizens and resident aliens. Just make sure that you're communicating to them that you're not a U.S. citizen or resident alien. And so don't just be quick to say, I'm not a United States citizen in and of that, because if you're a citizen of one of the states, you're a United States citizen. But there's a difference between a United States citizen that's created by an act of Congress, the 14th Amendment, and a citizen that is a state citizen that's based in habitation domicile. That's not the same thing. You see, in Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution says the citizens of the states are entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. What that means is that the federal government can't favor one citizen from one state over another state. They are treated the same way. Now, at that time when the Constitution was created, there was no federal citizen, okay? There were only state citizens, okay? And the federal government didn't regulate them. But when you got around to the 14th Amendment, the first U.S. citizens were the blacks that were claiming U.S. citizenship, and those were citizens subject to the jurisdiction thereof, as it says in the 14th Amendment. And then Americans with their government were many times referred to as Americans, but then eventually the federal government got unified and recognized that this federal citizen, being subject to the jurisdiction thereof, could be taxed and regulated. And you saw that come in hand with the bankers and all that stuff. And so the timeline is plays out that way. And they just dropped using the term American, and now everything is about U.S. citizenship. That's why you're asked all the time, are you a United States citizen? So anyway, yes, we do have paperwork for clients with respect to your cryptos. And what a beautiful thing. Imagine that you have your crypto earnings and such, and that you're not going to have to share that with the pedophiles in D.C. Wouldn't that be a sweet thing, huh? And then here's a question from Clay. It says, I was denied the renewal of my passport due to a tax delinquency. Is there something I can do without their method of compliance? Well, yeah, what you have is a tax issue. And so what you owe is over $50,000. They got a lien and stuff on you. So the Commissioner of Internal Revenue has sent a certification to the Secretary of Treasury, who has transferred that on to the Secretary of State, and to block your passport and such as that. So if you try to get a passport in any way, you're not going to be able to do that. You have to resolve the IRS issue. Now, if you're a federal citizen or a U.S. citizen resident alien, then you have those obligations. Pay your taxes. Get back to work before we give you a beating. No, but you have to deal with the IRS and let the IRS know that you have filled out forms in error because you believe that you were a 14th Amendment citizen. You didn't know it. Matter of fact, when you filled out your original passport, you did that as a federal citizen. You don't want to do that, And so they're going by your testimony. It's not like they're being bad towards you. This is just the way it is. You have given them the information that creates your tax liability. Stop doing that. Get in here. No. Anyway, so yeah, that's what you have to do, Clay. You have to change those things with the IRS. Then here's Don Mar says, does opting out of taxes work in Canada? Opting out of taxes works everywhere. No, I don't know what tax you're referring to in Canada. Are you talking about the Canadian income tax? Well, the thing about it is the Canadian tax people are as mean and crazy as the American IRS. I don't know. we don't have trouble with the IRS because we agree with the IRS. They should tax those U.S. citizens and resident aliens, tax those bastards as hard as you can, because they'll never learn the lessons. They keep saying, can I get my Social Security? Nah, I want my Social Security. Oh, brother. I want you to take care of me, but I don't want to pay my taxes. Yeah, grow up. Stop playing like as if they're your friends. Yeah, we'll get in. Hey, Michael, we'll get into the political stuff about that. Like good old Trump, he's got some good things going for him, doesn't he? Though it's like he's got his good team. Go back to sleep, rest and relax. The pacifier is taking care of everything. It's going to be a great time. We'll talk about that in a minute. Do you think we'll have the kinder, gentler government now? We'll see. Not likely. Back to Canada. Here we go. And if you've never heard of Red Green, you don't really appreciate the great comedy there. But here's the thing with the taxes. Listen, it's really simple. No matter what country you're in, let's say you're taxing your income in that regard. Okay. So here's the reality. It's really simple as far as you have a choice. Somehow you've come into that jurisdiction and have said, yes, I want a protection or I want something from you. And they've offered something and you've said yes. And so, and therefore they're going to tax and regulate, because usually they offer you some sort of privilege or security or a supposed security. And that's part of it. And so if it's a just government, and what I mean by that is like, that they're not going to violate your rights, which if you have a government that practices violating rights, well, then they're going to violate all your rights, including get back to work before we get you beaten. You got to give us more money, like that. So if it's a just government, or if they're pretending like they secure rights, then there must be a remedy, and you should be able to point to something that says, I can make a different choice. And even though it's not seen or whatever, you can find it, and that's where it is. Otherwise, if you're being taxed against your will and that you don't have a choice, then escape immediately and defend your liberty by force if necessary, and get the hell out of there with everything that you got, and go find some other place that you can keep all of the fruit of your labor before you give it to your God. If your government is taking the fruit of your labor before you have opportunity to give it to your God, guess who thinks they're God? You get to determine whether you have the cojones or the testicles in order to take a stand for your life. And that's the reason why you have a Second Amendment, is not so that you can be protected from the average thug. You see, the average thug on the street that's going to harm you, there's an honesty between you and the thug, okay? Because he wants what you have. He's not trying to be your buddy. He's going to steal from you. You know that. You can either defend yourself or give it to him. There's an honesty in that. But when your government pretends to be your friend, like you just elected us, and they take your money, they're saying they're your friend. It's an abusive relationship, and you should get a restraining order on them immediately. So, but that's not the case, right? So anyway, so yes, there should be a remedy, and I don't know what it is in Canada. But the thing you say in here is, it's interesting, is there something I can do without their, no, that's not it, about Canada. It says there was something about in the passport service. Oh, it's interesting. That question's separate from this next question. Okay, that's good. Anyway, so if you're Canadian, that's what I believe. There must be some remedy in there, and I haven't looked it up. Now, I did hear from someone that there was some sort of a Canadian remedy, and I don't recall what it is. So you can just do a search on that on the internet. Maybe it'll show up. Then there's a Drick Blitz, I think is the name on there. Yeah, I spoke with him today, but I'll pass on his questions. They're very good. Is the passport service something my wife and I need to do separately, or does the class cover both of us regardless? Well, the website recognizes everybody individually. Okay. And so, and then we have some discounts that are available if people want to do together. We'll offer some discounts if you have children and as a family, because some of the paperwork we can do together, some of the review and stuff we can do together. So there are some discounts with respect to that. Like, for example, children that would be minor children are not going to have access to the alignment stuff, and so that they can be a lot less for their passport process. Because in our full passport process and the passport workshop comes with all of the alignment workshops that we have that gives the client support for other things, driver's license and other places where government asks, are you a United States citizen? Also, in the full passport process, the class, that state citizenship, foundational state versus federal citizenship class, that'll show you who has an income tax liability, and it'll show you that it is absolutely constitutional, and that the federal government, here's my opinion, which is, this is crazy statement. Can you imagine this? What if the federal government actually is upholding the Constitution? And what happens if the Constitution, the power that's been delegated to the federal government, and I'm thinking of Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, that the Constitution actually empowers the federal government to do exactly what it's doing. And everybody thinks, uphold the Constitution. They are upholding it. Maybe we should scrap the stinking Union Constitution. And then I thought to myself, well, geez, is there another Union Constitution we could ascribe to? What about the European Union? Do they have a constitution? You know, I don't think they do. I think the European Union was just created, and that it wasn't ballsy enough to. You're eating chocolates. You can't eat chocolates like that. It's late after. It's after 6 o'clock. Anyway, no, we have nice chocolates. All right, fair enough. But anyway, but I was thinking, I mean, can you imagine? We should have the Constitution of Europe, right? There actually was a bill presented before the European Union to do a constitution, but I don't know if they've done that. If you know that the European Union has created a constitution, I wonder if it's any good. We should check into it. Maybe we want to join that union. Wouldn't that be amazing? Look, folks, the union's the problem. By the way, speaking of the union being the problem, we do have bumper stickers coming, and that say that has DC with a red circle through it, and it says "Make America States Again." If you'd like one of those bumper stickers, we'd like to provide. I think we're doing $5 on those. But anyway, if you'd like one of those bumper stickers for $5, you can just email us at citizen@destinationfreedom.org, and we'll give you some sort of a link where you can pick one of those up. I'm going to have them out there in Acapulco, Michael. I think I'll take them with it. That'd be fun. I'm going to put one on our car. That'll be great. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So So imagine, you see, we have a romantic relationship with our union. You know, we have a romantic relationship with our union flag. Oh, because if you don't like this. If you don't like this country, you could just get out. Oh, go stick it up your nose. You know, listen, you wouldn't know patriotism if it hit you in the head. Listen, the best part of any of America would be the decentralized states. It's enough crap. How's the union doing? It's just a union. Listen, Americans are programmed into thinking that our union is a country, folks. I say it. I say it too. I say, you know, around the country, you know. It's just not. It's a confederation of states. When was the last time you read the Articles of Confederation? It's beautiful. It's very simple. Doesn't give them a lot of power. They don't need that. Let the states do things for themselves. Now, that's one of the areas that Trump has been good in, not everywhere, but the more he decentralizes the federal government and lets the states take up that responsibilities, that's better for everyone. Then the states can pay for their own things. They don't have to have that middle monster, you know, pretending to offer benefits while the cost administrative is over the top. So if he decentralizes the federal government, that's good. So, and he's done that a little bit. That was what Roe v. Wade was. It wasn't about, ending, people's choice to eliminate their offspring. That's not what he was just making it so the states would make those determinations, because not every state is in the same place with each other. And the beautiful thing about the states being that America's decentralized is then freedom's on the market, and the better states will draw people, and the crappier states will have a mass exodus like they see in California. Now, so some people are moving to California. If you want to send somebody to California with like a parting gift, you can like send them fire extinguishers or something like that, because I think they're going to need them out there, at least in the Southern California. But anyway, that's sad to think about. But anyway, so get back to the questions. Okay, here we go. All right, so doing some. Does the wife have to do a hold harmless agreement? Yeah, the hold harmless agreement is for individuals, and each individual should fill one of those out. That's important. Someone said, I mentioned the choice between doing the workshop or having the paperwork, assistance with the paperwork. The link, let's see here. What's the difference in price? Okay, and I don't want to mention the price on here because it dates the video, and I don't want to do that. But you can go to DestinationFreedom.org, and you can see that the full passport process, where we do the paperwork, and then you get all the alignment stuff. The workshop has the templates for you. It's everything you need to do the process, as well as has the FOIA information in there, so you can do that as well. It lets you know what the State Department needs for that FOIA. And the foundational class is required to do the workshop. That'll save you some money. But with the full passport process, the class comes with it. So it's included in that price. So that's part of that. This person says, I'm a follower of Jesus and would love to participate in the prayer website. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, boy, I tell you, that's coming slow. It's, I've sinned against myself and against heaven, not making that a priority. That is supposed to happen. I have an appointment on Friday. We're going to launch that. So between now and Friday, I'm going to have everything done that I need. Michael, we have to schedule some video stuff, if you don't mind. Oh, we should make a list of that. Maybe we can do some of that tomorrow and or Friday, if that works out. So, so I'm going to complete that project. If you'd like to be on a prayer, that prayer call, that'll be great. Matter of fact, I should probably do a call tomorrow night. Should I do that? We were planning to do a Thursday night not prayer fellowship, but prayer could be part of that. It was doing kind of a freedom fellowship type thing, where it handled the scriptures and things like that, because we have a different perspective in looking at how the church collectively does what it does, how it's connected to government in a huge way. And of course, it's my opinion that the church isn't that different from the world. It has a religious garb and all that stuff, but there are foundational Christian doctrines that are not biblical, and I don't support them. So I tend to be, I'm more rigorous with respect to scripture. Okay. And if you just dealing with scripture from English, you're really not going to know what the Bible says. So it's not really the way it works that way. So because it's an Eastern book, it has to be understood that way. Anyway, we may do that. It's my interest in doing that on Thursday night. If you'd like to participate in that call, maybe we'll do it. Maybe I won't broadcast it, and we'll just start it off as being in-house. So if you'd like to be a part of that Thursday night call, just reach out to us at statecitizen@destinationfreedom.org and let us know, and we'll pass on links. And maybe tomorrow night I'll do a call and see how we can get that rolling. All right, then let's see. It says, do you still do Wednesday night calls? I explained that earlier. Hey, whatever we got recorded out there, Michael, on the first part of the video, we'll join it up with this one and make it into one video, okay? Or we'll do part one, part two. So yeah, the thing about Wednesday night is it's our goal to do this every Wednesday, but sometimes life shows up and I get tied up doing some things, and I'll just say, well, I'll catch it next week. That's my intention. What is the link of the Freedom Fellowship talks? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's cool. So we'll have that in the people will reach out to State Citizen, and we'll come up with a link for that. And so when I'll talk to you about the client call and the link that goes out for that. All right. So let's see what some questions that were. These are the questions that came up on the site. Okay. So it looks like there's some other ones here. I want to make sure I catch some of these questions in. All right. So we'll get some other things answered on here. Do banks have both federal and state charter authorities? Yeah, that's thanks so much for that, Christopher. Yeah, there are state banks, sure, and then there are federal banks. They're both tied to the Federal Reserve. So if they're taking in Federal Reserve notes, then they're going to be still governed by that federal aspect of it because of that. And the biggest reason that they are, because they're banking with federal citizens and resident aliens that are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And so private banking is not something that you see out there, but definitely is available for people who are not federal citizens, resident aliens. Now, here's the amazing thing about it. You see, because federal citizens and resident aliens have an income tax liability, if they don't disclose or share and do these things, then they're going to be charged with money laundering. But if you don't have an income tax liability, then you're not charged with money laundering. There's no such thing as that. It's only when you have a tax obligation that there's money laundering. And just for the record, the money is shitty, okay? It needs laundering. And it's not like I'm saying that you should break the law. You should never break the law in that regard, unless the law is violating your rights, of course. But don't forget, most of these systems you join and you want to be a part of and you want to say those things. So, but the money's filthy. Raise your hand. I mean, let me see. Let's think about it. Because they were talking about cryptocurrency. We don't want to have the bad guys use the cryptocurrency because they're committing crimes out there. By the way, God bless Trump for releasing Ross Albright. And that was a beautiful thing with respect to him. Those were prayers answered. But the idea is that I wonder, what is the currency that's used in the world that has the most criminal activity? Geez, I wonder what that would be. Oh, I know, the Federal Reserve money. Hey, how about let's shut that shit down? I wonder if any of that money is used in funding bad people that do bad things. Is any of the Federal Reserve notes going over to Ukraine? I wonder. Geez, is there guns and stuff being bought and sold with Federal Reserve notes? Duh. What a crock of crap. How hypocritical. You know, it's amazing. I heard someone say that they had a remedy for not paying income taxes. They were saying it's like this. It's like, listen, if the government is funding some of these things, that it looks like they're funding these terrorists out there, and you're not allowed to be supporting that, well, then you can't be supporting these organizations that are committing terrorism, so it's like a mess. They want to, in the name of making sure that no human trafficking, no drugs, no terrorism, those three, they want to make sure you're not doing that, even though they're always doing that. What a crock of crap, hypocrisy. It's like, is anybody running for out there? It's like, let's shut the CIA down, the FBI down, the NSA. Oh no. Hey, let me tell you, NSA ramping it up. We're going to ramp it up so we can have more, so that the pacifier is awesome. Now the Republicans can be on the supporting side of massive surveillance. That's happening. That's going to happen in the name of we're protecting America. And it's like, now how's Trump going to do massive surveillance? It's not like he's connected to anybody who's into AI. Is he? Is he into anybody that's into AI? Can't think of a soul. Nobody. And of course, anybody that's in AI, of course, they only have honorable intentions, right? More mindless. Okay. Let's see. Now that, I remember that meme that says, we voted for Democrats and things didn't work out. Then we voted for the Republicans and that didn't work out. Then we voted for the Democrats and then it didn't work out. So we voted for the Republicans. Then we voted for the Democrats. Isn't it time we vote for the Republicans now? It's like, holy crud, folks. Listen, you can be like me and drain the swamp in your own life. You can say, Bye-bye. You don't have to support that crap. We're supporting in every way with every corporation that we buy something from. But the corporate state is in control. And if you want to see a good movie about that concept written a long time ago, watch James Caan in Rollerblade. You'll see that the corporations were already buying states that were going bankrupt. And so the corporations were in charge of the states. Yeah, that's not happening today, is it? Yeah, no, it's an absolute stinking mess. There are two things that I would kill in the world to bring goodness to the world. The first thing is I would eliminate any government to be able to create a corporation at all. Lose corporation. Everybody be responsible, liable for their own actions. Let people do business. Just don't give them government protections. That's one. And the other thing is I would make it illegal for governments to borrow money. End of story, full stop. Because the reason that it's immoral for governments to borrow money is because you can't tax people that aren't born yet. And God forbid we're going to kill children that aren't born yet. How the hell are we going to get these taxes paid, for crying out loud? But it's taxation without representation, because if you're paying taxes because they borrowed money before you were born, how is that with your agreement? That's just moronic. Look, it's stupid. It's immoral. Stop it. And you know why it's not stopped? Because the church is complicit, because they do the same crap for their own people with their tithing crap. They just treat it like a tax. All right, let's get into the last one here on, let's see. All right. Hey, Paul, good to see you on here. These are not courts, whether you plead guilty or not guilty. Both pleading are saying, I will not pay the bill. You're not accused of anything. You are charged. Yeah, it's interesting. When you look at it, we asked them, like in Montana, this traffic citation wasn't civil, it was criminal. They were charged him with a crime. That's why I believe they had a jury associated with it. Literally was making it a felony. A speeding ticket. How's that? No victim. Anyway, so we'll see if we can overcome it in the appellate process. So, but at least in California here. Then there's another question: is will AMA field our needs? Why are what? Is that, do you understand the question? Will AMA field our needs while you are partying in Mexico? Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think think the office will be shut down. I imagine that there will be still some communication stuff going on and all that. There'll be some of that, but no, the office will be shut down during that time. And like I said, if you got stuff you want us to move forward on, let's get it all done and moving forward before the 12th of February. That'll be great. And then we'll get back. And then I'll be traveling, but I'll be working abroad and doing all that stuff. So it won't be a problem. We will make sure that you are taken care of, especially if paperwork has to have timely responses. We definitely will make sure those are always met. Let's get to some of the questions that are on there. Let's see. Oh, we got to go back here. Let's see. I can print it out, the questions. Oh, that's Michael saying that. All right. Let's see. You tried to open a bank account. They only let you do it on the computer. And if you give them an SSN, they want it to be a 10. No wait. Yeah. So here's the thing. Okay. You as much as in you, yes, you can do paperwork without the computer. It's a thing still. And yes, you might have to print out forms, fill them out and send it back. But let's say, and that's the best way. And listen, if you're going to do your own freedom work and things have to be true and correct, you don't be so, let me see. I'll try to say something nice. Listen, you got to be tougher than like, they only do it on a computer. I can't. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't make that noise. Okay. So, but listen, I get that sentiment, but don't just give up, because listen, when government says there's these 2 ways you can do it, there may be 10 ways, but just because they want 2 ways doesn't mean that that's the way you have to do it. So we say, as a rule, you're going to PDFs. You're going to fill out things physically and do that, reserve your rights and all that. But let's say, like in New Jersey, they're just refusing to do anything outside of the computer. Okay. I try to make them as stupid as I can. So I go down to them and I type them there, or, you're on the computer. Then you reach out to somebody, call them on the phone and say, I don't have a computer. I can't do this. I don't have a computer. It's like, well, you go to the library. Well, how do I get to the library? It's like, do I have to check out something or whatever it is? Does it cost me to be on the computer in the library? Someone's going to give me a free thing. What happens if I don't have electricity or whatever? It's like, they haven't thought this through. Please send me my computer so that I can log in, because I don't have a computer. Anyway, so they want you to go to some public venue. If you have to do the computer stuff, then you'll have to follow it up and let the state know you just filled out this form. This question I answered this way. I couldn't answer this question. I couldn't explain myself. Whatever you want to secure with respect to your rights, you can put in on an explanatory statement, mail it into the attorneys associated with the state. Let them know you filled out this form. This explanatory statement must be with your application in order for the application to be true under penalty of perjury, whatever it is. You're going to have to let them know that application form that I submitted on the computer is in error. This is the correction. This is what I say. This is what I mean, and assert yourself. And we've done that, and that's the way that you have it be true for you. But again, you'll have to do that work. Let's see here. Now that's weird. I got a Christopher on here, so I'm looking and I'm thinking I wrote that myself. Why do they create a different number, a TIN, as opposed to just simply, because there are people that don't have to have a social security number. Like many times they'll do a TIN, a tax ID number with a business. And so you're not going to have a social security number with a business. And many times, people have different entities and they give them a tax ID number. If you have employees, they do an EIN, so they have those numbers. All of those numbers are if you are doing that business in the District of Columbia. If you're not doing it in Washington, D.C., then you're lying. You don't know. You're ignorant. You're saying, I'm doing a trade or business in the United States, District of Columbia, and therefore please tax and regulate me. That's what you're saying. They're just going along. They're a victim of your ignorance. So that's what's happening. So don't do a tax ID number. It's not true. I explained this all in the state versus federal citizenship class, and that's good. Here's Paul says. He says local government wants everyone with rentals to apply for a business license and get a tax license. Of course. It all has federal identifier numbers and want to pay tax if I owe it, but not join federal zone. That's a good word, Paul. And again, in those situations, you have to look at the statutes and codes that govern those things. You'll see many times they begin in the federal and not in. And so if the liabilities are for the federal citizens and resident aliens, and that's. You don't have to participate in that. But again, tradition is what's governing, not the law and not necessarily that sentiment. So you definitely want to be distinct when dealing with those entities. And that's why we have an alignment workshop that helps clients when dealing with some of those licensing things. He says it's all computerized and no way to change it. Again, the same thing. What's the reason you do not accept checks or money orders? What's the reason I don't take checks and money orders? Because I don't have to. Because I don't want to have deposit. Because look, we're trying to do work quickly for clients and all that stuff. And so if I get a check, then it's got to clear. It's got to clear my bank. It's got to clear. It's like, who the hell wants that? I don't want that. So send me cash. It goes in much faster. And money orders. What money orders? You want to get a banking money order? And I don't take postal money orders. It's only for U.S. possessions. Look at the front of the postal money order. It says what it's for. So I don't want that. Paid up for the class on Sunday, but haven't received the class. Oh, okay. Well, I don't keep signing up, of course. When we look at and I think we've already, I think I've already opened that up and given you access to that class. But if we have, if it's the state citizenship class, once we have the money, which if in your situation we have, then we'll just give you access and we'll send it up. You can always write out to state citizen at DestinationFreedom.org and let us know that, whatever it is, we'll follow up and make sure that's done for you. If it's the workshops, then we'll be looking for a hold harmless agreement. But the class, the first foundational class, doesn't require a hold harmless agreement. Then here's John. He says, "Hey, Christopher." Well, he may not say it like it's me. "Hey, Christopher." And, I don't know. It says, "Sent out driver's license alignment letter. You sent me to Tallahassee." Oh, cool. It still hasn't arrived. Well, they were socked with snow, so they may have, listen, when I went to the post office and I was sending stuff out, they actually had a weather warning at the top. So yeah, listen, Floridians don't do snow very well. So, and they don't have plow trucks. So, so there could be plenty of postal delays and all that. So I'm sure it'll work. It's been 3 weeks. What do we do? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about that. If you have if you have the certified numbers and all that stuff, you can determine exactly where it still is. So if you have tracking numbers of that, we'll be able to figure this out. All right. And I'll look for that, John. And if you want to call the office, maybe late morning or in the afternoon, if we're not on the phone, we'll pick up and we'll figure out what that is. But I'm going to make a note of that as that'll be Florida driver's license alignment letter, John. Okay. Thanks. All right. And listen, John, this platform isn't really a good one for you to be asking me questions about client stuff. What's better is Tuesday nights, you can ask for clients only. You can ask to be a part of the Tuesday night call, and we have a link for that. So you can come on here, and I'll be glad to talk to you about some of that. That way we can get into some of that. I'd have the computer in front and can check and all that stuff. It'll be good. Also, I've heard you say to close accounts with EIN number. Yes. I've neglected to do so and ran large numbers and need to fly to mainland in this problem. Is this a problem? Well, I mean, ultimately, you're still saying you're in the District of Columbia, so you have a tax liability when you're using those kinds of accounts. So, yeah, I mean, if you have because someone had mentioned on there that they closed all their personal accounts, but if you have close the business accounts, do things personally. So if you already have a bank, they don't even have, they may or may not already have a social, but get a private, not a private, a personal account with the social, give them your proper W-8 and W-9, and you'll be good to go. And don't keep any money in there that can't be, that they can't take, because it's not your money while it's in there, so it's unfortunate. It says, so if we were not liable for local taxes, how do we answer if confronted? Well, again, we help clients with that kind of communication. You can come on to our Tuesday night. I'd be glad to talk to you about that. But the answer is you have to look up the statute and code that governs the local tax. You have to see who it's to, get to whom correct. Once you know who has that tax liability, then you can deal with it. If you're talking about local taxes like property tax and all, that is a whole nother matter. If you're talking about income taxes, most, if not all, state income taxes are based on federal. If you don't have a federal, you won't have a state income tax. But if you're talking about other taxes like local tax and all, you have to take a look. Usually, a direct tax would be they'd send you a bill and you owe a tax. They call that a head tax. It's very rare. Direct taxes are very rare. They have to be a portion. They have to be the same for everyone. So that's why they do excise taxes. Excise taxes give you the freedom not to utilize their service or what they're offering, and therefore you can avoid using it, like gasoline tax is an excise tax. Now, look, we all buy gasoline, but some people don't. So one of the ways you can avoid paying the gas tax is if you have an electric car. Of course, you're paying taxes for the electricity. And so, there's taxes in all of these utilities. And so that's unfortunate, but that's the case. Those are, if you don't want to utilize the benefit that government is providing, then you can avoid the tax. So that's how, and here's the thing too, is if you don't understand how taxes work, then you're probably going to be overtaxed. That's the way it is. Do they ask for W-9 if non-interest bearing? Well, yes. Well, it's interesting. When you fill out the forms anyway, if they're asking for the Social Security number, it's their version of a W-9. And if you look at it, if you look at the elements of a W-9, you're providing the same elements. So you want to give them your W-9 that shows exempt. Now, you still may be signing all of their stuff. There's no way for you to get set up with a bank account without signing their crap. It's just not going to happen. They don't have an obligation to do business with you. If you believe that brings you greater value, then you just want to make sure that you're clarifying. Maybe you're stamping the form with your stamp that says all rights reserved without prejudice. We have those stamps available for clients. But again, and you're never going to give them your W-9 by itself. The W-9 always comes with the W-8, which is your certificate of foreign status. Anyway, that's all important. And you know how you do that. If you're looking for a fight from the bank, I promise you a fight. They will give it to you. Don't have that energy. Come in with love and compassion and understanding and let them know, I don't want to get in trouble. I need to have these forms in there because I did this thing with the State Department, so it'll all work out well. But anyway, so that's the coming up. Oh, Michael, did we want to talk about some of the things? Do people have any questions about how beautiful life is going to be now that the yellow hair guy's in there, or is that orange hair guy? Is that what they call him? Orange man. Listen, I love what Trump says. He says good things, He tells the libertarians he's going to have a libertarian in his cabinet. He didn't do that, but he says good things, okay? That's what politicians do. They say good things. And Trump, and if he does anything, decentralizing is always good. And God bless him for, pardoning Ross Albright. God bless for that. That guy didn't deserve a double life sentences for signing a website. That's crazy. But anyway, he's a big fan of Israel. He can cut off welfare to the whole world, but he won't cut off welfare to Israel. And that's never going to happen. Why is that? Well, it's because the church who votes, they support Israel. They don't care if Israel's committing crimes, even though Israel, the government of Israel, and I'm not talking about Jews, because listen, there's plenty of, you can't point to one country or even one religion and say everybody in that religion is the same. That's just moronic. It's not that way. Listen, if you want to look up on YouTube, Jews that are critical of Israel, look, it's there. You'll say what they say. They're not hiding it. Listen, our CIA, Israel has an organization just like it. They have a handler for every member of Congress, except for one. I guess that was Massey or whatever. But anyway, you have an Israeli handler for every member of Congress. How is that? That every bill would favor Israel. How's that? What other countries do that? It's a stinking mess. And I'm not against anybody. You can't blanket that all people from a country are the same. That's just moronic. It's stupid. But that government is powerful. They have plenty of money, and they're as corrupt as our government. What do you expect? It's going to be bad. So, okay, did you throw Paul out of the classroom? He did. Look what he said.
What did he say?
He said I look like Bill Clinton.
Well, you kind of do.
Hey!
Sometimes that and Christopher Walken.
I did not have sex with that woman.
Do your Walken voice.
I'm not doing any Walken voice. I haven't got that. Yeah. Oh, that's nice, Paul, that you like me better. That's a backhanded. I don't believe everything after the butt. I don't believe. Yeah, you know.
Everybody's got a butt, Paul.
Hey, listen, I was trying to do a talk down in Acapulco, and I was telling everybody, it's like, I hope no one says I look like Bill Clinton. And then so they did it. At the end, they were doing the Q&A, like the guy says, Mr. President, what do you think about? I was like, don't say that. That's mean. I did not have sex with that. I'll just leave it there. I did not have sex. Anyway, but anyway, you're not kicking Paul out. We can't kick him out. Oh man, that's funny.
Paul.
All right.
It was meant to be a compliment.
Oh, someone's disappointed I'm not raising a black. I have that. I got my black chariot, so I pull her. I do like my sparkling water. It's good. I gave up soda, started drinking sparkling water. I like this one particularly. So it feels lighter, quenches my thirst better when it's cold. Oh, that's nice, Paul. Yeah. Yeah. I don't no. I'll work on some impersonations. I'll work on some walking. I do want to do walking. I want to. No, I can't do. I don't know how. I mean, I can hear him in my head, but I got to get his. I got to memorize some of his script, then I can practice. You know how we said. I just need more cowbell and more cowbell. Anyway, I'll work on walking. But anyway, it's a good thing. He's got a good script. But anyway, I do dance like him, though. I have to say, you know, like Walken did in Weapon of Choice. Is that the video that he does, Michael? You don't know. He doesn't know. Michael's got good music tastes. All right. So listen, I'm thankful for everybody. We burned out an hour here. Sorry for the break in the middle of that. And I don't know why. I don't know. It might have been the computer. Yeah, I don't think we lost the broadcast, but it definitely shut us down. And so we'll try to figure out what the problem was. But I am grateful for everybody. I covet your prayers. Thank you for praying for me. I'm feeling much better than I did last week. And we've got big plans. We've had a lot of activity, and this has been a great year. Going back to Acapulco again, it's going to be a fun time. So I love you all. I'm grateful for you being on. Be sure to like and subscribe if that's something that you do, and we'll see you. We'll see you on the internet later on. Listen, always endeavor to do things yourself and don't trust your government in anything. Okay, and they're just people, but you know, just build the communities yourself and take care of each other, and God will bless it, guaranteed every time. All right, I love you. See you around. Take care. I'll let you close us out, Michael. All right. There should be like closing music. We need some closing music and maybe some credits. Oh, that's all right. That's good. But yeah, we should.